Good day to all of you. Welcome to our SPM final chemistry workshop. I'm your host for today, Lin from Fun Education. Fun Education provide a free consultation regarding further studies. We also representing over 200 university in local and also abroad, like Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, Switzerland, Australia, and many more countries. Next, we also provide a one-stop education services, like 6 of these. We provide the career personality test, provide you with the university info, find you a suitable university, bring you for campus visitation, help you to look for the scholarship, and also help you with the uni enrollment. For example, if you are not sure what to study, you can actually get a link so that we can help you to do the career personality test so that you can know which pathway you are suitable, which job you are suitable for, and then we can help from that. You have the career test ready, right? Then we will help you to look for the university info. Then you can compare, and then you can from there you can find a suitable university. After that, you find a suitable university already. Then you can go for a campus visitation. For now, right? Because now MCO cannot go for campus visitation. Then you can do maybe like a online Zoom meeting. Then we can share you the fee structure, the scholarship, the environment of the school, and also facility also. So after that MCO finish, then you can go for a real campus visitation. And then after that, you can also ask us for example, you got 8A, how many scholarship you got? Then we can help you to search for it lah. And then lastly, we also help you with the enrollment of the university lah, so that we can help you with the hostel, with the university, so that if you want to register for the school you don't know how, then you can also look for us. All of these services that I say is totally free lah. Then now if you are watching this live, you can also help me to like our Facebook page. You can search for Fun Education so that you can stay updated on the latest info, latest workshop that we have lah. Next, okay, if you have any further study question or you want to get the career test link from me, you can just WhatsApp my number 016-706-3303. And then we have a 3 branch of office lah, including in the Puchong, in the JB Mount Austin, in also Muar. And then for myself, I'm from the Puchong branch lah. Alright, before we start, you can also download the handout note first lah. For students who are watching the live now, you can also share this workshop to your friends or anyone who is interested. Later, I will write the link in the comment box. For those who have missed out the workshop, if you're not free now, you have to do homework or got tuition, then later you can watch back lah. You can replay this video with the link I send you in the comment box later. Then I guess many of you wondering why we have this workshop is because now MCO we cannot do like a face-to-face consultation, face-to-face workshop. So we have this online workshop for you guys, and this is the last one because now at the February end is gonna have the SPM test ready. So this one is for you guys to help you guys lah. So once again, thank you Segi University for sponsoring. For now, I will share a video of Segi University. Thank you, Segi University, for sponsoring. Okay, today we have invited Cikgu Lee, which have many years of tutoring this chemistry subject lah. Alright, Miss Cikgu Lee, I will share this, let you to continue with the workshop lah. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, dear students, the Form 5, the coming SPM 2020 candidates here. I hope every one of you already back from school and then have your lunch and have a great lunch prepared for your parents and so on. So now I hope that everyone get ready to follow my slot now, workshop. So today, okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, so today my slot, I will be talking about chemistry. Mostly teacher will focus on paper 2. I will focus on paper 2, right? Okay, so before that, I would like to share with you the analysis of the paper 1 and the paper 2. So like, as you know, the number of questions coming out from which that topic is the most one, then you will need to pay more attention lah. Okay, so for the paper 1, if you want more tips, you can go to YouTube. Yeah, the Didate TV Route to Success SPM 2020. I just finished on air yesterday. So no, the day before yesterday. You can go to the YouTube and get this video to watch about how to score or how to handle the objective questions, which is in paper 1, right? Okay, so then the paper 2 is, as you know, it have 10 questions lah. The part A is a structure, part B and C will be the essay questions. A is about 60 marks, B and C is 20 marks each, so the total will be 100. So 100 divided by 2 means the paper 2 will contribute 50% of your SPM paper. So which means that it is very important, your paper 2. So to score A or not to score A, it depends on your essay. Your essay from the part 2 and B and the C, right? Okay, so now, okay, I hope that everyone already downloaded the worksheets that then you can follow. If not, maybe you can listen and you may jot down the things that the important points that you want to jot down. You can jot down on your test pad. Okay. Okay, so my slot here, I will be talking topic by topic lah. Okay, our teacher will start from Form 4 first. As you look at the screen now, it shows that teacher prepared a question from the chapter 2. And this question, the stimulus is from the diagram. So you have to see the diagram carefully and get the meaning hide inside the diagram. Okay, so as you see here, these two, okay, the condition, they put the copper 2 sulfate, okay, copper 2 sulfate in 2 different conditions. One is water and the other one is the gel, right? And then also you need to see that mean that you need to relate it to the arrangement of particles. So when I say water, mean it's liquid. If I say gel, mean it's related to the solid. So you must figure out the arrangement of particle in the water and also the gel, right? Okay, next is you see the time. Okay, so if the copper 2 sulfate is put in the water, it will take 1 hour. But when we put copper 2 sulfate into the gel, it will take 3 days, okay, to get the whole gel become blue color. So this is something related to the arrangement of particles, right? Okay, so let's see the question. So based on the diagram, you need to explain the differences in observation, okay, by using kinetic theory of matter. So that you cannot just explain on your own. So you must, what you say is, must depends on the kinetic theory. So, and then also see that the marks given is 3 marks, meaning that your point, you must have 3 points lah to talk about. Okay, so let's see here. So the first point is you talk about the copper 2 sulfate. There's a the master of the game, right, for this experiment. So the copper 2 sulfate is made up of tiny particles. Okay, although we can see the blue color, but we actually cannot see the copper 2 sulfate, the copper ion and the sulfate ion we cannot see because it's very small, tiny. Okay, so here teacher prepared the answer in bilingual lah. So if you are not the DRP student, you can listen in English, then you can get the answer in PM in my screen as well. Okay, so point number 2 is you talk about the spaces between the particles. So you compare. So in the gel and water, so this is the gel one, this is water. So you can see the space lah. So of course the gel, the space will be smaller than water. So if that means that copper 2 sulfate particles will diffuse slower in the gel particles. That's why slower, the key word here important is a slower. Slower, that's why it takes 3 days here. Okay, so that is 3 marks for question number 1. This is part of the structure questions lah. So my slot here, I didn't show you the 10 marks for the whole questions. I pick up the important part only. Okay, so now I want to move to the next questions. Okay, yeah, before that I forgot. So before that, so here I show you is a copper 2 sulfate. So it might be in the exam or coming exam, they didn't talk about copper 2 sulfate. They might use a bromine gas, which is brown in color. And they also might be use a copper 2, the potassium manganate 7, which is purple in color. So bear in mind lah. So if these 3 means they are almost the same pattern. Okay, question number 2. Question number 2 is also in the chapter 2. Okay, it's a chapter 2. So obviously you can see, when you see the graph, you must know that this graph is actually a heating or the cooling curve. Yeah, so how do we know that it's a heating curve? You see the temperature. If the temperature increase, means this is something, it must be heating lah, right? Okay, so based on the graph, they ask you to explain why the temperature remain constant at the T1 and the T2. Okay, why the temperature constant at T1 and T2. Okay, so my tips here is you must know the 2 things. So at the BC, BC is changing solid to liquid. So meaning that the process is melting lah. And then the DE is a liquid to the gas. So the process will be the boiling. So be careful. Sometimes the graph show you 1 constant. But this graph, I show you 2 constant. So 2 constant, the first constant will be the melting point. The second one will be boiling point, right? Okay. So the 2 points, how to get the 2 points here? Okay, so we talk about heat energy. Many students, they didn't get marked because you say the energy. So the energy, as you know, the energy, it can be light energy, sound energy, and so on, kinetic energy, right? Potential energy. So you must say heat energy. Okay, so the energy is actually absorbed by the particle X, but the temperature didn't increase only. So this is why, because the energy absorbed is used to overcome the force for attraction between the particles so that they can change from the solid to liquid. Yeah, that's for B and C. Yeah, from time T1 and T2. Okay. Yeah, so this is question number 2. Yeah. Okay, from chapter 2, now I want to move on to the chapter 3. So chapter 3 is about empirical formula. So the question here, I didn't show you the calculation lah because the previous seminar I showed you already. Here is, I give you the higher order thinking questions, right? I'll focus on that. So the first here is they ask, can the empirical formula of copper oxide be determined as same as method of magnesium oxide? So the first part here is, the answer is very easy only, 1 mark. Can or cannot. You have to talk about that. So you see here the 3 marks, right? So here is 1 mark. So the 2 mark is for when you explain. Okay? Yeah. And so you need to name the chemical equation. After that is the second part lah. Okay, so I will show you the how I get the answer here. So first part is I will say no. Then I will give the reason. Okay, so how I get this reason is I put here the reactivity series of the reactivity of metal. So as you see from the arrow going up, right? So the higher one will be the most reactive lah. So copper is over here. It's quite low in the series, which means it's not a reactive metal. Okay, so the magnesium one is actually you take magnesium, you burn with the oxygen. Okay, so name the chemical reaction. So the chemical reaction is, this one will be the burning lah. So just now, because of the copper is not a reactive metal, so that it will does not burn easily. Yeah. Okay, this one is answer for the first 3 mark. So now I want to get the first 3 mark is, they say name the chemical reactions. If you say cannot follow the magnesium oxide, the combustion, so what is the suitable method? So the suitable one is we use reduction by using dry hydrogen gas. Yeah. Okay, as you see here, the hydrogen is over here. Okay, hydrogen is higher than copper. So hydrogen should be able to reduce, to reduce the copper. Okay, so and then beside that they say state 2 other metals. 2 other metals. So the 2 other metal that you can give the metal that lower than hydrogen lah. So it might be tin oxide, tin oxide, lead 2 oxide, or iron 2 oxide. Okay, or iron 3 oxide. So these are the metal, tin and lead are the metal that lower than hydrogen. So dear girls and boys, bear in mind, the series, this reactivity series is very, very important. Okay, and in the paper, it's not given, so you need to try your best to memorize the series. Okay, yeah. So now I want to move on to the next questions. Okay, so now I want to move on to the chapter 4. Move on to the chapter 4. Okay, state the changes in the atomic size of the elements when across the period. So the keyword across the period, okay, atomic size, and then from left to right. State the changes, so you just tell whether it's in the increase or decrease, that's all. So then the explain. Explain here, 2 marks. 2 marks mean you need to give 2 points, okay? So of course, I want to share with you. So when you want to memorize the change of atomic size for a period, across a period from left to right, you remember the flag. Okay, the flag, right, from big one, reach here, become the smaller one. Or I just make a joke lah. I say, you know the horse, right? Okay, just imagine the horse face, how it look like. Okay, the horse, the face is like, the front part is big, right? Then until the mouth becomes smaller. So there is a pattern of the change in the atomic size for the element in the period. Yeah. Okay, so why this happened? The reason. So because of the first point, you can talk about the proton number. Okay, you can say the proton number, or you may say the number of proton. Okay, or even you can say the nucleus charge, the force attraction for the nucleus increase. Okay, the keyword is increase. So increase, why increase? When this one increase, so the attraction on the valence electron becomes stronger. So bear in mind, when we use the word attraction, here you must say stronger or weaker. Don't say attraction is fast, attraction is big or small. Okay, that's not a suitable word. Okay, so this question is talk about the change of atomic size in a period from left to right. Yeah. So now I want to move on to another questions. Yeah, so if maybe before this one I put extra tips for you lah. So here I discuss about the period, but in the exam might be they don't ask about the period, they maybe ask about the group, maybe the group 1 or group 17. So just now we say a period when across left to right, the size change is become smaller, but down the group, it should be increased. For example, group 1, we have 2.1. And then we got 2.8.1, 2.8.8.1. So as you see, when down the group, the number of shell used to occupy the electron increases. So of course, the size becomes bigger. Okay. Yeah. So from chapter 4, now I jump to chapter 5. Okay. Now we move on to the chapter 5. Yeah. This question is about the ionic compound and also the covalent compound lah. Okay. So wait. Just a very quick review. When I say ionic compound, so you must understand or you must figure out the ionic compound must form between the metal and non-metal. Okay, the other ways, if covalent means it must be all non-metal. Okay, so ionic compound, the metal will donate electron to the covalent to the non-metal lah. Yeah. Okay, so this question is they ask you to compare and then you need to explain. Okay, explain in terms of need to explain the differences between the sodium chloride and the tetrachloride in terms of melting point and electrical conductivity. Okay, so together is 8 marks. So each one is 4 marks lah. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can get your 8 marks easily. So for these questions, for comparing questions, you can write your answer actually by using the table. Okay, you can use a table. So for example, so I make it in the table. I make 3 columns. First column is I talk about sodium chloride, and then the other one I talk about tetrachloride. So here I will put that what I want to compare. So melting point. First, I want to talk about melting point. I just say lah, oh, sodium chloride has high melting point. Tetrachloride has low melting point. So this is I just give the statement, compare. So after that, I need to explain why it's high. Why the CCl4 has low melting point. Then you need to explain on it. Okay, so the melting point is actually depends on the force attraction between particles. So here, dear girl and boy, listen carefully. Listen carefully. When you want to use force of attraction, got 2 types. One is force attraction between particles. The other one is force attraction from nucleus towards the electron. When you want to talk about melting point, boiling point, the correct one is force attraction between the particles. So if the force is stronger, so of course need more heat energy to overcome the force. So the melting point will be higher. Okay, that's how you argue your answer. Okay, so explanation. So when we say sodium chloride, mean that it has Na positive and also the Cl negative. So because of opposite charge ion, right? So the ion will be attracted by strong electrostatic force. Okay, so this force make the compound become stronger, become tied together. But whereas for the CCl4, they are just a neutral molecule. They are not a charged particle at all. So the force between the molecule, the neutral molecule will be very weak. Okay, sometimes maybe you can say that it's van der Waals. So you can compare here. This one is very strong and this is weak. Okay, so the strong one. So the strong one will need more heat energy lah. The weak one you need less heat energy, so that you have these two. Okay, so 2 marks here, 2 marks here, then you get 4 marks really. So dear girl and boy, you must mention both. If let's say there's a student just talk about this part. If you just talk about sodium chloride, we cannot give you any marks. Okay, we cannot give you mark because the question say you must compare. You give one, you don't talk about CCl4, you don't compare, so we cannot give you marks, right? Okay, so I'm going to move on to the electrical conductivity. Okay, electrical conductivity is, first point is you talk about whether they can conduct or they cannot lah. So for example, the ionic compound you say can conduct, then you must tell me the condition. Okay, you must say that it can conduct in molten or the aqueous solution. But the CCl4 does not conduct in any state. So this one you must mention. Mention both, you get 2 marks already. Then later on, you explain lah. Why it cannot? So the reason. So the keyword, dear girl and boy, keyword when you want to talk about electrical conductivity is you talk about freely moving ions. Okay, this ion, don't say electron. If you say electron, it's wrong. Freely moving ion. Okay, so the CCl4, because the CCl4 is only as a neutral molecule. As a neutral molecule. So if neutral molecule mean, of course, they don't have freely moving ion. So they cannot conduct the electricity. So you see here, 2 marks, and then here another 2 marks. Okay, so altogether 8 marks already. This is part of the essay. It might be number 7, it might be number 8. Okay, yeah. Okay, so here I show you the overall or the whole thing for these questions. Okay, electrical conductivity and then explain. Okay, my tips here, just I mentioned already, right? When you say ionic compound like sodium chloride, they must have metal and non-metal. This one, all non-metal. Remember, here got ion, here are the covalent compound will be neutral molecules. Yeah. Okay, so now another question in chapter 5. Okay, so this one is you need to compare between the ammonia and the ethanol. Okay, so they say that although ammonia and ethanol are soluble in water, but why only ammonia will conduct electricity? Okay, explain why. So ammonia, as you know, ammonia is NH3 lah, right? Ethanol will be C2H5OH. Okay, so the difference is when ammonia, the difference is when ammonia soluble in water, it will form hydroxide ion, the OH negative. Okay, so these ions are freely moving. Okay, they are freely moving so that it can conduct electricity. Okay, then what happened to the alcohol, the ethanol? So the ethanol also can very soluble in water, but they didn't form hydroxide ion. They form hydroxyl group, the dash OH. Okay, so this is not freely moving ions. Okay, so no freely moving ions present so that it cannot conduct the electricity. So 4 marks lah, yeah, for each pair. So remember, ammonia will form the hydroxide ion when they soluble in water, but the ethanol will form hydroxyl group. Hydroxyl group and hydroxide ion is totally different. Okay. Yeah. So this is extra tips, extra tip for you. Actually, as I said just now, the ethanol is very, very soluble. So ethanol is actually completely miscible with water. So because the hydroxyl group, function group, which give a polar nature. So this polarity of the compound help it dissolve in polar water. So this is extra tips for you lah. Let's say maybe they ask you the higher order thinking questions, right? So here below here is the BM answer. Okay, and this is the equation. So when ammonia soluble in water or the ionized in water, it will form this. Okay, so this is ammonia, but this one will be the ammonium ion. Okay, so next I would like to move on. Next, I would like to move on to chapter 6. Yeah, chapter 6 is the electrochemistry questions. Okay, so this question, they ask you about the electroplating. Okay, the electroplating iron spoon with copper. So the iron spoon, you want to make it copper. Copper means brown color, right? Okay, so let's say they give you the diagram only, no label, I think. So they ask you to suggest and label the materials in the beaker. So in the beaker, you can see the spoon. This is look like the spoon, and then a rod and also the solution, right? So you need to label in the diagram lah. So meaning that this is iron spoon. Okay, here will be the pure copper and the solution. So the solution that you need to suggest. Okay, the solution when you want to electroplate something with copper, I mean the solution must be a copper solution. So the copper solution, you can give your answer like, for example, copper 2 sulfate, copper 2 nitrate, or you can give copper 2 chloride. But be careful, you cannot say copper 2 carbonate. Okay, why? Because the copper 2 carbonate is not soluble in water, right? Yeah, it cannot be an electrolyte. Okay, next part is you need to write the half equation and also state the observation. So altogether, the number 1 and number 2 is 8 marks. So number 1 is about what? 2 marks lah, yeah? Okay, so for this part, don't be, you have to take care of the how to write your answers lah. So for very easy one is I suggest you to divide your answer to the anode and the cathode. Yeah, so write the things at the anode and then you write for the cathode. So for anode, you talk about the observation. So the observation, yeah, the copper rod will become smaller. Why? Because the equation, you give the equation. Okay, so the Cu, the copper atom, donate the 2 electrons so that it become the copper 2 ion. Okay, whereas the cathode, the iron spoon, change from gray color become to brown color. Okay, this is the observation. And then support your observation by giving the half equation. So the half equation is the copper 2 ion from the solution gain the electron, this electron, gain here so that it become the copper. So this copper is brown in color so that you get this. Okay, so this is electroplating, remember, electroplating, if you electroplate with the copper means the solution must be copper solution. Copper solution, I repeat. Okay, so let's move on to another questions. Okay, this is still in the chapter 6, but I want to talk about voltage cells, okay, the chemical cells. So you can see in the diagram, it shows you a voltage cells. Okay, when you look at the diagram or when you see a voltage cells diagram is given, okay, so very, very important is you quickly look at the metals, the metal given there. So why I must see the metal? Because the metal will help me to know that which one is become negative, which become the positive terminal, right? Okay, so how to know the negative or positive is, look at here, the magnesium. So magnesium and the copper. Okay, the magnesium and copper. So I say determine the terminal. And then you discuss the electron transfer. Okay, the electron transfer, so it's either the oxidation or reduction lah. And then you state the observation at both terminal. Support your observation by giving the half equation. Okay, before that, so if you look at here, the reactivity series, aluminium is higher than copper. So meaning that the aluminium must be negative terminal and then the copper will be the positive terminal. Always remember, the one at higher position in the ECS will be the negative terminal. The lower one will be the positive terminal. Okay, so here you need to explain the reaction. So before you explain, okay, you have to determine the terminal. First, I would say aluminium is negative terminal, the copper is positive terminal. Okay, why? Because aluminium is more electropositive than the copper. Okay, done. After that, you talk about the observation. You talk about the observation. So the observation, aluminum plate, aluminum plate becomes thinner. So another tips that I can share with you, this is always guarantee 100% correct. So all the negative terminal, the metal will become thinner. Always correct one. But the positive terminal, I cannot guarantee you. Okay, most probably is become thicker, but not always become thicker. So be careful about that. Okay, so thinner, why thinner? Then you take this. So it because of the aluminium ion donate the 3 electron. So if you donate 3 electron, then it become aluminium ion. So this is LEO. Yeah, LEO is lost electron is oxidation. So I will know that this process is called oxidation, right? Okay, after you have finished talking about the aluminium, then you move on to the copper. So just now we say the copper is the positive terminal, and then the observation is copper become thicker. Why the copper become thicker? So is you look at here, this copper 2 nitrate means it has copper 2 ion here, and also the hydrogen ion actually, right? And then the aluminium donate 3 electron. These 3 electron donate go to the positive terminal. So this positive terminal, it will receive by the copper 2 ion lah. So as you know, the copper 2 ion is at lower position than the hydrogen ion. Okay, so the copper 2 ion gain the electron from the copper. That's why we say the copper plate become thicker. So here I want to share with you this. This is, I call it GER. GER means gain electron is reduction. Okay, so here I'm trying to help you on the oxidation lah, the oxidation and reductions process. LEO, lost electron is oxidation, gain electron is reduction. Okay, you have two. Okay, so this is about the voltage cells. Okay, from chapter 6 now, I want to go to the chapter 7. Okay, chapter 7 is about acid and base. Okay, so this question, they give you two set of experiment. The stimulus is in the diagram. So you must look at the diagram. In the diagram, they say, inside there, they put both also the same, right? Hydrochloric acid, one in solvent X, one in solvent Y. And another constant variable we can see that is the copper 2 oxide. Okay, so when the HCl, so we have HCl and this is a CuO. Okay, so you have HCl and the CuO, copper 2 oxide. When you put them in solvent X, you can see that here, dissolve. Dissolve means reaction happen. But when you put them into the solvent Y, no change, no changes, or no tiada perubahan, meaning that no reaction is happen. Okay, so from there you can guess really what is solvent X and Y. So the one that shows the reaction one means there must be hydrogen ion present, because just now we start with hydrochloric acid, right? It can react mean it must show the acidity. So acid only can ionize in water. So they ionize in water. So the X must be water. So the Y, so in your syllabus, you study two types of solvent. One is water, the other one is the organic solvent. Okay, so here they ask you to name one suitable example of each solvent X and Y. So here, read the command word name. Name means you must spell the things. Like for example here, I write here HCl. HCl is not the name. HCl is a formula. Okay, so 2 marks only. X, I would say is water. You don't put H2O. If you give me you write H2O is rejected. Okay, after that, Y, is organic solvent. We know that it's organic solvent, but here they say name. Although I'm a teacher, but teacher is not my name. My name is Lisa or Im, right? Same thing here. So you can say it's either propanol, benzene, and any suitable organic solvent. Okay, so 2 marks you dalam tangan already. Okay, next. Okay, after that they ask you to compare the observation and then explain your answer, include the ionic equation. 8 marks, here. So you compare the observation, the 2 marks already. Then another 6 marks is you have to explain at least three items that you need to explain. Okay, so first we say what? Okay, so hydrochloric acid in solvent X react with copper 2 oxide. Solvent Y does not. So this is when you compare lah. One react, one does not react. Okay, this one you get marks already. So next. So acid only can show its acidity properties when ionizes in water. Okay. Yeah, so this is a third point that you must mention. So in the presence of water, okay, so because acid only can show their hydrogen ion when they ionize in water lah. Okay, so this is point number 4. Point number 4, you link water and then you link to the hydrogen ion. Okay. Point number 5 is, so hydrogen ion react with the copper 2 oxide. Okay, you have to mention this. Then support your answer and with the ionic equation. Okay, so ionic equation here, because acid, we use the hydrogen ion. Okay, hydrogen ion, then you get this. Otherwise, if you give this, some student maybe they will give this. Then you say salts, right? Copper 2 chloride, and then it form water. So this is wrong because this is not ionic equation. This is overall equation, the 2 here. Okay, so from this actually very easy to get the ionic equation. So I just cut away the spectator. This one you cut away. When I cut this, I will put this one positive. This one I cut the Cl2, I will put this one 2 positive. Then it's still get the same thing here. Okay, so then you compare the observation. We say that produce copper 2 chloride ion. But in propanon, okay, in propanon, don't forget talk about propanon lah. In propanon, hydrochloric acid as a molecule. You can say molecule or you can say neutral molecule. Okay, so if molecule mean doesn't have or hydrogen ion doesn't present lah or does not present. Okay, so that's how you get your 8 marks together. Okay, you talk slowly lah, one by one. Yeah, so that is about chapter 7. Okay, so now I want to move on to another questions about the chapter 8. Okay, chapter 8, you are given still copper oxide. Okay, copper oxide added with the hydrochloric acid with the molarity and volume given. Okay, so you are asked to name the salts and calculate the mass. Okay, so here, wait, before I move on. So to solve this problem, you can watch the video about the paper 1 that which I share in NTV 7.1. I talk about the best method lah. Okay, teacher already have 31 years teaching in chemistry experience. So I found out one way to solve this kind of problem. I'm the founder of this method. You can use this, the emises. Okay, I call it emises. So first step is you write the balance equation. Okay, you write a balance equation for first step. Okay, after you get the first the balance equation, you find the number of mole. Okay, So here, because you are given this, the MV, you are given the MV. Remember, we use the MV over 1000. Okay, you use the molarity and the volume. So you count that, you will get it 0.025 more here. Okay, and then you need to find more, and then this one is the ratio. Find the ratio. Step number 4 is the ratio. So you can see here 2, and then we want to find out. This one, no number is 1. So 2 more of HCl produce 1 more of copper 2 chloride. Okay, but we use 0.025 only. That's why I need to divide by 2. So lastly, solve the problem. Okay, so you get the mass is, mass you use the formula, more time the molar mass. Okay, that's why you get this. And don't forget the gram, unit. Must write the unit. Okay, so this is how you solve the numerical problem. Okay, from there, I would like to move on to the chapter 8. Here, chapter 8, part of it only. How to describe to obtain the dry salts from the above reaction. So just now, we get this right, copper 2 chloride. Okay, copper 2 chloride. So meaning that the salts will be the copper 2 chloride. So always remember the first question when you want to prepare the salt, you ask yourself, hey, is this salt soluble or not soluble? Okay, you must ask yourself. Okay, so obviously the copper 2 chloride is a soluble salt. So soluble salts is, you need to use the what they call that, solid into the acid lah. So after here is they say describe how you obtain the dry salt from the above reaction, which means they already did. Okay, so the step is you need to do the filtration. After you already have the mixture, you filter it. You can see here the first step is you need to filter. After filter, then you do the crystallization. Okay, this one filter, you heat it so that you will get the saturated solution. And then here, let it cool down, okay, to get the crystal. So it's crystallization. And then you filter it one more time. Rinse a bit of water and then dry between the filter paper. Okay, so here. First step, the mixture, you get the ready mixture, you just filter. So why we need to filter? But because we want to remove the excess copper 2 oxide. Okay, so number 2, you can see the diagram. So when you want to write this essay, you remember back the diagram. So the diagram will tell you, will guide you how to write your essay. Okay, yeah. So the best is, here I say until 1/3. If you don't say 1/3, you can use the word saturated. Yeah, 1/3 is means saturated lah, saturated. Okay, and then let it cool down so that you can get the saturated solution. Okay, filter the mixture and then must mention, because here the question say dry. Okay, so you must dry between the filter papers. Okay, so this is a sample answer when you want to prepare or you want to get the salts from a mixture. Okay, next. Still the same question. You need to suggest another materials can use to be replace the copper 2 oxide. If I don't want to use the copper 2 oxide, what are the material can use that I will still want to prepare copper 2 chloride? Okay, so meaning that you must use copper what? Yeah, okay. So here I would like to share with you the tips. If you want to prepare the soluble salts, actually we can use metal oxide with acid, metal carbonate with acid. Yeah, here also both also can give you the salts. We don't use metal because copper is not a reactive metal. Okay, so just now the question already used the copper 2 oxide, so now you use the copper 2 carbonate. Again, suggest mean you write the name. Okay. Okay, then we move on to number 13. Okay, by naming a suitable example, explain why an alloy is harder than its pure copper. Okay, so before that, okay, to guide you how to write is, I show you here the arrangement of particles in the alloys and also the pure metal. Okay, so the first diagram, this one, obviously you can see what's the difference between these two diagrams, between these two. Okay, obviously you can see the below one, the second one only have one color, one type of atom, but the upper one, two colors. Two color means two type of atoms. Okay, two type of atoms. These some are different size. So different size means it must be alloy. The same size one, the very important is pure metal. All the atoms are same size, but alloy, the particles or the atom will be different size. Okay, so the purple one is the foreign atom that added lah. So we can add either the smaller atom or the bigger atom, so that we want to disturb this. You can see here, all the atom inside here is orderly arranged. So if I put the purple one, you see bigger, so the orderly arrangement of the particles or the atom is already disturbed. Okay, so when a force is applied on it, you see here the force, force. The force is applied, so this layer, you see all same size, you just push, the layer will slide over easily. But this one, when you put a force on it, they will not easily to slide over each other. Yeah, be careful, don't use the word cannot. Okay, so how to write and how to get the 6 mark? This one you can do in the table as well, but this time I show you not using the table. First, you talk about the bronze, for example. So example, I will say bronze is an example of copper alloy which contains copper and tin atoms. So copper and tin, it shows that different atoms already, right? Okay, so tin atom have bigger size than copper atom. This is a fact lah, you must know. So when this happens, you see, point number 1 will lead me write the point number 2. So here I say copper and tin atoms. So when I want to start the point number 2, I will continue about the tin atom, copper atom here. Okay. Then because of this, it will disturb the orderly arrangement of copper atoms, like I showed you in the diagram just now. Okay. So this is what happened in the bronze. So what happened when a force is applied on it? Okay, so the layer of copper atom, difficult to slide over each other. Very important is this one. Many students didn't write when a force is applied on it. If you don't mention the force, you don't get marks lah for here. Your answer is not complete. Okay, so just now we talk about alloy only. We talk about bronze. So you also need to talk about the pure metal or the pure copper. Okay, just very few sentences only. So I will repeat. I will say, oh, pure copper contains the copper atoms all the same size. Okay, so when same size mean what? The arrangement of particles or the layer of copper atom slide over easily or slide over each other easily when a force is applied on it. Yeah, so that's why the alloy is harder than the pure copper. Okay, just now is all the Form 4 topics lah. Finish already. So now I would like to go on to the Form 5. Form 5, we start with the reaction. I will see any. Okay, reaction. Okay, dear girls and boys, reaction is a famous, frequent asked question in SPM. Okay, please study this. So for example, I give you these questions. Okay, you are asked to name the factor. Okay, you need to name a factor that affect the rate of reaction for this both experiment. And then there's a A, and then B is if the volume V centimeter cube of hydrogen gas is produced in experiment 1. So you are asked to predict. So predict means this is higher order thinking question, really hot questions. Okay, you need to predict. So when you see the question, find out what is the manipulated variables. Okay, so from here we can see obviously the manipulated variable will be the concentration of the acid Q. Experiment 1 is 1.0. Experiment 2 is 0.5 mole per ream cube. So this will be the manipulated variables. And then of course, you will have some knowledge lah. If the higher the concentration of the solution, right, the reactant solution, the higher the rate of reaction. So you must know about that. So if not, you see the time also, you can see 1.0 higher, so the time is 10 seconds. 0.5 lower concentration, time taken become longer. So this is how you analyze the information given by the questions. Okay, and then now they ask you to predict lah. If let's say I say the V it is V centimeter cube, then here how much? Okay, so the number of mole of gas produced or the volume of gas produced is depends on the reactants used. Here they say what? The metal P excess. So we can omit the P, don't see the P, we only see the Q lah. So you quickly count the number of mole for the Q. How to count the number of mole? Mole is mV over 1000. mV over 1000. So for the shortcut, you can just count, you can just take m times v, then you can see your answers already. Okay, so concentration. So first, like you count the molarity for the Q, so I get 0.05. When you count the mole for experiment number 2, you get 0.05. So it's mean what? Both also, although they are in the different molarity, right? But the number of mole for both actually the same. So the number of mole for the reactant is the same. Of course, the volume produced or the product produced also it will be the same. So my keyword is you compare the mole. You must compare the number of mole. So if the number of mole is the same, means the answer is V lah. Okay, let's say this one is V, but this one I get 0.1. That's mean times 2, right? So my answer will be 2V. Okay, yeah? So bear in mind, you compare the number of mole. See number and then see the ratio lah. If 1 to 1 means the same. If 2 to 1 or 1 to 2, then you have to either you have to multiply or you need to divide it. See carefully. Okay, this is my advice. Okay, after that is this is confirm other lah, confirm came out lah. Okay, this is a very famous questions. Yeah, reaction, rate of reaction. They will ask you to explain. Okay, why experiment, like for example, like here, right? Why experiment 1 has higher rate of reaction than experiment 2? Don't use your own language to explain. You must explain by using collision theory. Follow the facts, okay, the scientific facts. So you talk one by one. This one is the 5 marks. 5 marks means 5 points, okay? So I'm sure if you follow what I say here closely, shouldn't be a problem to get 5 marks, right? Yeah. See how I write lah, yeah? Okay, first you need to compare. Compare 1 marks and then you explain lah. So compare, then I will say, ROR means rate of reaction lah, yeah? Rate of reaction in the experiment 1 is higher than reaction in experiment 2. So you get 1 marks already. Okay, so when this is a common word, okay, dear girls and boys, when you see compare mean your answer must have ER. You must write ER. Okay, so after that is I suggest that you check the MV. MV here is manipulated variables. Okay, so the concentration of acid Q in experiment 2 is higher than experiment 1 is higher than experiment 2. So you talk about the manipulated variables. Okay, so after that I will explain this. What will happen if concentration is higher? So when concentration is higher, same acid, right? Concentration higher means what? When we say acid means, it's like we're talking about hydrogen ion. So concentration higher means the number of hydrogen ion per unit volume also increase or is higher. So another keyword, number of hydrogen ion, you must say per unit volume. Okay, remember, you must say per unit volume. Okay, 3 marks already here. Then, after that, you talk about 1, 2, 3 done. Okay, after that is you use a keyword. I use the mnemonic lah, FOC. It's not like you buy things that they say FOC, free of charge. Like today's workshop, right? Today's seminar is free of charge. You must send big thanks to our Fern and also the Sergey to sponsor this program. Okay, so FOC, frequency of collision. So when you say collision, you must have the word between. Between means you must talk about the reactant particles. Okay, so if you are like this question just now, they didn't tell you the specific reactant. So you just use the word reactant. So for example, if I know the reactant is magnesium and the HCl, then I will say magnesium and hydrogen ion. Okay, there's a difference. So in general, we say reactant particles, but specific example, then you need to mention what are the effective particles that should take part in the reaction lah. Okay, after the FOC, you repeat the same thing, just add one word only. I call it FOEC, frequency of effective collision. Okay, you talk about frequency of effective collision. Same thing as I just said, just add one word. Okay, yeah. So, and then lastly, you can add back lah. You say the ROR, the rate of reaction in experiment 1 is higher than experiment 2. And then another reminder, I want to remind you, when you talk about rate of reaction, you must use this word, higher. It's either you say higher or you say lower. You don't say fast or you don't say slow. Fast and slow is when you want to describe reaction. Okay? Fast reaction, slow reaction, high rate of reaction, low rate of reaction. Okay, so I hope you clear the terms, the terminology that you use. Okay, so this is about the rate of reaction. I would like to go back this page again. Okay, this page. So very important, collision theory again. When you want to talk about collision theory, you write your answer like what teachers show you here. Okay, one by one, don't skip. Okay, although this part is you need to write more chemistry language here. Okay, so the next part is the sketch graph. So the graph, like we got a few pattern of graph, like, okay, maybe the graph like, okay, and sometimes we may have the graph like this, or sometimes we may have the graph, okay. So you make sure that you know how you are going to analyze the graph. So if you see the 3 type of graph that teacher draw, I didn't label the exit yet. So you must able to see, if I give you this type of graph, you must know that this one must be about the product. Why I know it must be about the product? Because I can see it's increase, right? Increase. Okay? Then constant. So how do I know when it's talking about the reactant? So when the reactant mean is it will reduce. As the time goes on, the reactant become lesser and lesser. Okay, that's the difference. So for this case just now, we say what? The volume, right? The same. So the tips. ROR in the rate of reaction, ROR of experiment 1 is higher. We know that is higher already. Higher mean cannot be another type. I need to draw another type. Another type is like this. Higher and then like this. So if this one means what? The rate of reaction is almost the same, right? So cannot be like this. So tip number 1 is you must check the rate of reaction. And then number 2 is you check the volume of the gas or the product. Then only you can plot or you can sketch a graph carefully. So for this case, of course, I will get both also, the volume also the same, both also the same. The difference is the rate of reaction. Okay, so then we will get like this. Because the experiment 1, the rate of reaction is higher. So higher. You see here, the volume is the same. Only the time taken is different. Yeah. Okay. So draw and then label. Label the x-axis, the y-axis, and also these two curves. Also must label. Some students, they draw nicely but no label. So you don't expect the teacher, the examiner, you know that which one is referred to experiment 1 or experiment 2. Okay, so that is about the rate of reactions. Okay, so I share with you how to sketch a graph, how to use a collision theory to explain on it, and maybe others you can try out to draw the graph. Make sure you know how to draw the graph very, very fast. Don't draw half an hour. Use a half an hour to draw a graph, right? Okay, so from rate of reaction now, we move on to the carbon compound. Carbon compound. So here is, you are given two compounds, A and B, and you are asked to describe a chemical test. This is my favorite questions, chemical test. So I'm the founder. I'm the founder of one method called POC. Okay. Everywhere teacher go, I give seminar, I give ceramah, I give workshop to the teachers. Also, I use this POC. What is POC? Pop song. So the POC is mean procedure. Okay, so when you see the question about chemical test, confirmation test, you write your answer, follow P, O, and then the C. The P stands for procedure. I repeat, P stands for procedure. The O is stand about the observation. The C is the conclusion. For example, I want to test the presence of oxygen gas. So my procedure will be, I will say, flow the gas in, flow what? Insert a glowing splinter in a test tube containing the gas. So that will be my procedure. Again, I repeat. Insert a glowing splinter into a test tube containing the gas. So that is the procedure. So then you talk about the observation. The glowing splinter relight observation shows oxygen gas is formed. So I repeat, POC. Yeah. I found this method, this keyword very useful, and I always share to all the people, students in my workshop, everything. So you can use this, is free of charge one. Use it when you see the question about chemical test, right? Okay, so describe 8 marks. So POC, POC, procedure. So this is the diagram lah, where you want to the reagent. So you need to reagent. Of course, you need to use the reagent for this case. So the P stand for the procedure. So the procedure, just now I give you the POC is very useful in the structural question. So 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark. So altogether you will get 3 marks easily. So in this essay, how are you going to get the 3 marks? It's the same. So if in essay also POC, so that maybe the P is 1 mark, the C is 1 mark. So the more mark in the P for the essay. So P for procedure. So you talk slowly lah. Okay. So when you want to talk this one, of course, you must give me the quantity, how much you want to use, and what are the reagent that you want to use, and where you want to put them. You want to put them in the beaker or you want to put them in the test tube. Okay, so this is your procedure. Okay, and then 3 drops, yeah, you must, 3 drop is also a quantity. You might be, if you don't want to say 3 drop, you may say 2 ml, 5 ml. So, but be careful when you are using the test tube, you cannot say 20 centimeter cube. So it is too much already. For the test tube, is usually is 10 only. Okay, this is wrong. Okay, so this is your procedure. Yeah, so your observation is recorded. Then you need to repeat lah. Just now is we use the for the A. Later you repeat the whole thing for the B. Okay. Again, this is the procedure, the P. So after the procedure, you need to write the observation. For the essay in paper 2, the observation you must write all. This is different from paper 3. In paper 3, the last part, design experiment, tabulation of data, you only show the manipulated variable. You need to show the actual observation. That's the difference. So bear in mind, make sure that you don't confuse. So here I would like to show you that it has O and here there's a C. So the observation. So you have 2 test tube. You can observation, like for this is the best way is you construct a table. You draw a table. You got test tube A and B, right? Okay, name it and then write down the observation. Okay, write down the observation. If alkane, the brown color or bromine water unchanged lah. But if alkene, then the brown color or bromine water will be decolorized. Okay, so if this, I get this observation mean is alkane. So if decolorized mean is alkene. So this is what I say conclusion. Okay, your conclusion. So POC, yeah, remember. Okay, so from that we jump up to what's the time now? Okay, chapter 4 about the thermochemistry. Thermochemistry. So here is also considered an easy questions, right? It's just some of you the calculation part a bit big. Okay, so here this is the information given, but this is an extra point, extra tips that teachers share to you. So when you want to do this topic, you must know these 3 formulas, sorry. One is about the heat, heat energy or maybe heat release. You use the formula of mc theta. The small m. So I got 2m here. The small m here is mean mass. Okay, mass of the mixture. Okay, mass of the mixture. And then you need to count the number of mole. You use the formula of mv over 1000. Then one I use a big M, molarity. Okay, after that you need to count the delta H. Okay, use the heat divided by number of mole. And for delta H, it might be positive or negative. You must put the sign. Okay, so come back to this question. Here you are given the zinc powder and then this is a copper 2 sulfate. So they ask you what is the meaning of heat of displacement. Meaning they're asking you in the general lah. So after that, you need to count the heat of displacement for this reaction. The meaning. Okay. So the meaning here I will not describe more because this is a fact that you can memorize it. But just what I want to highlight here is when you want to give the definition for any heat of reaction, heat of displacement, precipitation, neutralization, or combustion as well, make sure that in your definition, you must mention the word 1 mole. Must have 1 mole lah. Okay. So how to calculate? Yeah, the B. First of all, you need to calculate the mc theta. So the mc theta is the mole. Okay, use the MV over 1000, you get 0.01 mole already. Okay, so here you will get 1 mark. After that is, this is the mole. After that, you count the heat. Heat is, this is M, C, and this is a theta. So you get the joule. I advise you quickly convert the joule into the kilojoule. Okay, just divide by 1000 only. Just leave it there. Okay. So lastly, you count the delta H. Use the formula given. So delta H will be heat and heat release divided by number of mole. Then you get 168. Don't forget to put the negative here. Okay. Because you can see the temperature here. From 30, it becomes 30.8. Or you can see this word, highest. If I say temperature become higher or highest, meaning that the heat is released. So when heat release means it's exothermic. Therefore, you must put a negative. And don't forget about the unit. For the delta H, the unit must be kilojoule per mole. That's why I say here you convert to kilojoule first. Okay? Yeah. So this is the heat of displacement. Okay, another example is C, question C. This is a very frequent question they ask. They will ask you why you don't use beaker, you use a plastic cup. Yeah, and why the value of heat displacement is lower than the theoretical. Okay, so why we use a plastic cup? Because the C. Oh, this one is the plastic cup because plastic cup become the heat insulator. Okay, so why the value of heat displacement is lower is because some heat lost to the surrounding. So this is the extra. I show you the energy level diagram. Okay, this is energy level diagram. Make sure that here you must show the value of delta H. Okay, another question still in thermochemistry. I feel that it's quite important and quite many students do a mistake. That's why I put it here. So here, obviously you know that this is heat of combustion lah, heat of combustion, and you are given the thermochemical equation. This is called thermochemical equation because the value of delta H is shown here. Okay, so what is meant by delta H? What's the meaning of this? It's actually you use back the definition only. Okay. So if heat of combustion, we say the amount of heat energy released when 1 mole of substance is burned in excess oxygen. So here I will say 1260 kilojoule of heat energy released when 1 mole of ethanol is burned completely in excess oxygen. It's actually you use this third definition to write your answer. Okay? Yeah. So next. Okay, next part is you need to calculate the temperature. Okay, this is not a routine questions. They give you the delta H. They don't give you any temperature, but they want you to count the temperature change. They want the theta. They want you to count the theta. Okay, don't worry, you can do it. Just use back the formula only. Okay, so first of all, let's count the RMM of the ethanol. Okay, I'm sure that you know how to count with it, but I just show it here. You should get 46, not gram. I'm saying RMM. Okay, so why I count this? Because I want to count the number of mole. Remember just now, the delta H is MC theta over number of mole. Okay, M, I can get it. C is also I can get. Theta is my problem. The mole is the one that I don't know now, but I can count. That's why I do this step. Okay, so you count the number of mole. To count the number of mole, you know you must have this 46. The question is not given you, so you need to count on your own, right? So after I have the number of mole, now this one settled already. Then this delta H is this value. So I can substitute all here, then I can get my theta already, right? Okay, so MC theta equals to 6.3 kilojoule. But here, remember, you must change it back to the joule. Okay, convert to the joule. Then only you can count the theta. Okay, the theta 7.5, and don't forget to put the unit lah. Don't forget to put the unit degree Celsius. Okay, be careful about this. So remember, when you put MC theta here, this one, change it to number of joule. Okay, change it to the joule. Why I need to change to joule? Because the C, the constant, the heat capacity constant is the unit is the joule. Okay, but in the delta H is kilojoule. So these are the hanky-panky that always make you careless lah. Yeah. So like I always say, betul kan yang biasa, biasa kan yang betul. Avoid any careless mistake. Okay, so this is about thermochemistry. Now I want to move on to the last chapter and our last questions here lah. So this is about chemical for consumer. I like this topic because all the while you study from Form 4, from start of the chapter 1, introduction to the chemistry, the atomic structure, the electrolysis, the acid base, and then the reaction help you to cook faster the food. And then you talk about carbon compound, the ester, and then the oxidation, the iron rusting, and then the hot pack, cold pack. Last topic is specially designed for all of us are the consumer, chemical consumer. So that's why we have this topic. Okay. So this topic is you are asked, they say, describe the cleansing action on the stain. Okay, let's say we have the stain, how the soap can remove the stain from the cloth. Okay, so firstly, you have to describe what is the structure of the soap molecule. Okay, soap molecule consists of two parts lah. You got hydrophilic and hydrophobic. Philic. Philic is something like feeling. If someone say, "Ayo, I got feeling with you," means I love you, right? Phobic is like phobia. So here, hydrophilic means love water. Hydrophobic means scared of water. Okay. And at the same time, soap also can use to decrease the water surface tension. Okay. So you can try this. Let's say you put a cloth, right? You put some oil on the cloth and then you try to put them in the water. You saw in the water, you can see very difficult to wet that cloth. But if you put a few drops of dishwash, or the shampoo or maybe body shampoo, you can see you can wet it easily. Okay, this is because of water surface tension effect. Okay, so when we put the soap, it will increase the wetting ability of water. Okay, then remember just now got two parts, right? Hydrophilic and hydrophobic. So the hydrophobic parts it will soluble in the water. Okay, as shown in the diagram lah, soluble in water. And then the hydrophobic part, soluble in the grease. Okay, so why this happen? The hydrophobic part is because, okay, like this one. This part is the hydrocarbon. And then here is actually the sodium ion. Got sodium ion part. Okay, it's negative. So this part, hydrocarbon, means is covalent. Covalent, this is ionic. So the covalent, as you know, covalent, the physical properties, covalent compound, it normally will dissolve in organic solvent. Okay, so grease is actually can consider one of the organic solvent lah. Yes. Okay, so the hydrophobic part, soluble in the grease. So after during the washing, the scrubbing, when you scrub it, or maybe you put in the washing machine, it will spin, right? Okay, so this scrubbing breaks the grease into small droplets. So you can try this experiment. So for example, you take a mineral water, you put some water, and then you put some oil inside, close the cap, and then you shake. You can see very nice emulsion, the small droplets of oil in the water. Okay, so when the grease already changed into the small droplets, So this will suspend in the water to form an emulsion. Okay, so when this happens, okay, you rinse a few times, then you wash away the droplets. For example, like here, at the beginning, I cannot see. Okay, at the beginning, you can see here, at the beginning, this is the grease. The grease are here. So, the hydrocarbon part is soluble in the grease. And then the head part is negatively charged, so it was soluble in the water, right? And then you see here, the scrubbing, remove it. And then this one become the smaller droplets. Okay, this question is actually ask you to talk about the cleansing action. So might be in the SPM, they will ask you about hard water. They will ask you to talk about what is the effect, or is the soap effective or not in hard water. So you must know what is hard water lah. Okay, as you know, hard water is not normal water. It's the water that contains calcium and magnesium, or magnesium, maybe both, or maybe one of them. So this will make the water become harder. Okay, so when soap ion combine with react with calcium or maybe react with soap, it will form the precipitate, the scum, so that it will reduce the effectiveness of the soap in hard water. Okay, so that's all for me. All the best for you. Yeah. So we still have a little bit time. If you have any questions, you can post in the chat box. I will see the chat box. Anyone have asked questions? So I hope my sharing, although it's not cover the really all the topics, not all the questions that you might be think it will coming out in the exam in the SPM 2020, but as I say that just now, you don't spot the question, you don't spot. Okay, the important is you have to like relax, don't show tension. So just read, remember, it's the very important is you should do your own short notes, important notes, the keywords. Okay, and then keep in touch with the objective questions, because the objective is quite easy and it's carry 25%. Yeah, and then try to maybe memorize some color. For example, like chapter 8, right? You need to know the color of the oxide. Zinc oxide is yellow to white. Yeah, hot, yellow to white means hot and cold. Lead 2 oxide, copper oxide. And some calculation formula. Maybe you do in a small cut, the chemical formula, the calculation formula, and so on. Because all this formula is not like physics is given in the question paper. They only give you a periodic table in paper 2. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Cikgu Lee, for the sharing for the
Yes.
chemistry workshop. All right, thank you. I hope you guys find this very helpful for you all, and it has come to the end of the workshop. Hope this workshop can be beneficial for you guys, and then hope you guys score a good result in your coming SPM. Lastly, hope you guys enjoy it, and see you in the next workshop, which is tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.